question is about compassion, because I think in that tradition, it's a little bit more at the forefront, at least in my experience, and I have obviously more experience in that.
Right.
But I'm wondering, because my initial response is that there's a little bit more of a harshness, and I don't know if that's the right word, but there's, I know there's this idea of the cutting through and the, this kind of sharp view, and I'm wondering how you reconcile that with the values of compassion, or how that's then generated, because my response is somewhat this don't know mind. Sometimes I feel it's negative, but I'm wondering how to, I guess in your opinion, the cultivation of compassion, how that
Right.
would work.
That's kind of an interesting question. I've told this story. Those of you who've heard me tell it so many times, bear with me. I've met your teacher, Thich Nhat Hanh. He's fantastic. And he is very different from Zen Master Seung San. They're just different style. But it's interesting to see all these guys, and I actually had the good fortune to see a lot of them together. Like Mahagosananda with Sansanim, opposites. One's a bear and one's like a lamb, but both same teaching. Actually, if you really think about the lamb of Thich Nhat Hanh style or Mahagosananda style, they're extremely resilient, hard training guys to do what they've done. So anyway, a little story about compassion. So when we were living in Los Angeles a long time ago, our teacher decided he was going to go out for a walk every night. A little jog, actually. And so he brought along with him one of our students who later became a monk. So his monk's name was Subangsanim. So it was a pretty tough neighborhood in LA. And so they went out for the little run in their tracksuit, and they had those old tracksuits with the stripes going down the side, and they didn't have any money on them because it was a really bad neighborhood. So they're running around the block a few times together, trotting, and this guy comes up to them and says, "Please, give me money." And Sansanim said to Subang at the time, he said, "You, please go back to the temple and get my wallet and bring this man some money." And so Subangsanim was like really happy, because at that time he's like, "Oh, my teacher's so clear. If somebody's hungry, give them food. If somebody's thirsty, give them a drink. This is good stuff, So he came running back and he gave him the money. It's compassion. So they kept going around, and a few days later, another person came up, a different person, came up to Sansanim and said, "Please, give me some money." And Subangsanim was expecting the tap on the shoulder to go back and get his wallet, but immediately Zen Master Seung San shouted at this man and said, "Get a job!" And Subangsanim was really surprised. But that's skillful means. That's two sides of compassion. Sometimes it's being a lamb. Sometimes it's being a dragon. Sometimes compassion means get a job. Sometimes it means here's some money. So they're just different expressions of, depending on what's in front of you. Don't mind, as far as your idea of it being something negative, I guess it's expressed in a negative term, don't know mind. So you could think of it more like without thinking mind, without holding mind, a mind that doesn't grasp. This is a softer language, same meaning.